Vinicius Jr. to Arsenal. It's got a good ring to it. Aye, Vinicius, not that you be watching little old DG, but you get me? We're big Brazilian fans over here. The dream is free. The hustle is sold separately. It's the hope that kills. But even if there's 1% chance, we must try and pursue it. Like every Arsenal fan. It's probably conflicting because it's almost like you believe we can do this thing. You don't quite believe. But like every Arsenal fan, not just if it's Vinicius Jr. We got to remember we're being linked with Bruno Guimaraes. We're looking at social media, we're preing the journalists, we're trying to see when we're going to get these sidings. Inverter we trust, but you know, again, all we have is theoretics. I think Bruno Guimaraes is in the bag. I'll eat humble pie if it goes left, but could you imagine Lewis Skelly, Declan Rice, Zubamendi, Bruno Guimaraes, Martinelli, Zolis, Vinicius Jr, Jokeres? Bro, too much to things, man. If we can keep everyone fit, take our attack to new levels, Madman Arteta doing what he does and evolving, we got a good chance of retaining the Premier League. And where Vinicius Jr is concerned, maybe winning the Champions League, because there's no way around it. We're going to have to get some level of individual brilliance. I know we've got that, but you know what I'm talking about. Them stars, them match winners, those players that are top 5 in the world. I think long term, we need to be finding these players before they end up where they end up of various levels. We used to be known for that at Arsenal Football Club, and that's not quite been the case, people. Rodrigo and Vinicius, they were bought by Real Madrid the minute they kicked a ball professionally in Brazil. That's the kind of thing, like, you know, if I just say random names, Kante, Mahrez, Mohamed Salah, Kevin De Bruyne, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Bacola at Lyon, Cherki at Lyon, can we find these guys before they end up where they end up and we're having the conversations that we're having now and had already? I don't know, but I think long term, that's where it got to go, Carl. The market's going to get crazy. And even if all the dominoes fall, like Real Madrid and Vinicius say, do you know what, our relationship's over, Arsenal and a bunch of clubs throw their hats into the ring, I wonder how much it's going to cost. Because if I'm Real Madrid, you probably spent 40, 50 million on him. He's a much better left winger, respectfully, because I like Morgan Rogers, then Morgan Rogers, or whatever Liverpool are going to play for Bacola. Rightly so. I know they've only got a year left on his contract, but Real Madrid are going to say, what, he went for how much? Have you got 100 million? Have you got 120, 130, 140, 150? For me, even if it gets to that, pay the bread and put the bread down, people. So, again, man, and again, you don't really know where to go and what to believe. There's all little things being added to this story. By now, you're all aware that initially yesterday, Hand of Arsenal said Arsenal have agreed personal terms in principle with Vinicius, and Rock Nation will go armed into negotiations with Real Madrid with a monstrous offer from the English champions. He also followed that up, people, and did say that he expects Rock Nation to deny it. A journalist from The Athletic has said Vinicius' entourage denies that the player has reached an agreement with Arsenal. So there's a lot of game playing, people. Is there bids? Is there not bids? Personal terms agreed, now they're not agreed. Vinicius wants to stay, he wants to go. Right now, when you read between the lines and you look at the language, it looks like we're trying to take advantage of if it goes left, where contract renewals are concerned with Vinicius, which is very different from whether we get him or not, sitting there and saying, listen, we're putting the money down for Vinicius. If you reject it, you reject it. It looks like it's almost like, in a weird way, it's like a striker making a run, staying on side and hoping that a ball's put in behind people. If the ball never comes, the ball never comes, isn't it? So yeah, we fully expect Rock Nation to deny, but we stand on our information. The ball is in Vini Jr.'s court. Real Madrid apparently have told Vinicius, take it or leave it. They will not make a higher offer for the player. So it's a game of poker where everyone's playing a poker face. There's been no direct contact between Vini and Arsenal, people. So there's a lot of game playing. And I think we all believe this. Internally, it's believed that if no agreement can be reached, then other European giants will join the race, not only Arsenal. Arsenal won't have a free hit. Now, Vini wants to sign for us, and we got the financial package, incredibly different. But everyone could. I don't know about Man United in this current climate, but being one of the, between them and Liverpool, the biggest clubs in this country, Man United might throw their hat into the ring. Liverpool might throw their hat into the ring. You'd imagine City would throw their hat into the ring. PSG would throw their hat into the ring. Arsenal Football Club need to throw their hat into the ring. Saudi clubs will throw their hat into the ring. And maybe I've missed out a couple of other clubs, people. Apparently, Real Madrid offered Vini a new contract after Brazil's World Cup elimination, but it's still below what the player wants. Vini Jr. and Real Madrid have been in talks for a renewal for 2 years, and they were never close to an agreement. Vini receives around 18.5 million euros annually, while Florentino Perez is offering 20 million euros as a maximum, but this is not the problem. The main problem is the signing bonus. Real Madrid believe that a signing bonus for a player who's already at Real Madrid should be lower than what you would offer to a free agent like they did with Kylian Mbappe. So there could be a resolution with a signing bonus. I'm prepared for Vinicius to sit there and say, oh, I always wanted to stay at Real Madrid, etc., etc. But give me the copium and the hopium and smash the like button, people. Vini and his camp argument, is that the signing bonus he's asking for is considerably lower than what Real Madrid would pay to sign a new player as a replacement. Both sides remain firm, and the trend is towards a back and forth until the transfer window ends. Vini Jr. is in no hurry and has time on his side because he'd sign with whoever he wants in January as a free agent, and because there's a significant portion of the signing bonus from last contract that he will be paid in January. So you led to believe, the ball is firmly in the hands or in the court for the basketball fans of Vini. The cost of the deal to bring Vini to Arsenal would be one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive, in British football club history in terms of a fee and wages. Internally, Arsenal believe they have the financial means to complete a transfer and are also confident the player would join. So again, in an ideal world, we wake up, Real Madrid say, forget this, Vini, you're gone. Vini says, forget this, I want a new experience. Arsenal are there financially to try and get this ball moving, people. That's what you want to hear. We will go over what Miguel Delaney has said, but apparently Arsenal made progress in negotiations with Vini Jr. with the outline of a personal deal agreed. There's still a considerable way to go for any deal to happen, but the feeling from the top of Arsenal is that the situation is currently heading in a good direction. The preference of both Real Madrid and Vini is to stay at Real. So there you have it. If that allegedly is it, then we got to move on and find other targets. But there's currently a considerable distance in the stance on a new deal. The situation is said to now be entering the decisive period, and it is possible his future is decided this week. Prepare for the best, prepare for the worst, apologies, and hope for the best, innit? Vinicius saga is still wide open. So every journalist is adding their spin to it. I don't know on the credibility of this individual, but he's allegedly claimed that Charles Watson said the situation regarding Vini Jr. is the talk of the training camp. The players are talking about it as well as the coaching staff. There's real excitement of the prospect of Vini Jr. playing for the champions of England. That would be amazing stuff. You did see David Ornstein speak, but again, what we're hearing about Arsenal's interest in Vini Jr. and his Real Madrid contract. Vinicius Jr.'s future at Real Madrid remains up in air. A year and a half after the Spanish club and the Brazilian's agents opened talks over renewing his contract, which expires in 2027, no agreement has been reached. Several suitors are keeping a close eye on the situation, so Arsenal are not alone. With The Athletic revealing last week that Arsenal are exploring a move, Arsenal's owners have also given approval to the idea of moving forward with a deal. Vinicius Jr. is Arsenal's top target to strengthen their attack. A move to Arsenal appeals to the Brazilian international if he does not renew his contract with Real Madrid. Should the attacker decide he wants to join Arsenal, agreement is expected to be found on personal terms. So maybe his first choice is to stay at Real Madrid. In similar vein, Julian Alvarez wants to go to Barcelona. It's got shades of Nico Williams and Rafinha. You throw in the messing about with Morgan Rogers. Going for those top signings, blockbusters. Obviously, I'd probably have Julian Alvarez and Vinicius above Morgan Rogers, but you get the point. We need to be prepared to move in all situations. Vinicius Jr. is Arsenal's top target to strengthen their attack. A move to Arsenal appeals to the Brazil international if he does not renew his contract with Real Madrid. So if he does not renew, he might want to come to us. Should the attacker decide he wants to join Arsenal, an agreement is expected to be found on personal terms. Allegedly, Mikel Arteta loves him. A person with knowledge of Arsenal's manager's outlook says if he doesn't renew, we'll be there. The financial differences between Real Madrid and Vinicius remain significant, with the side scheduled to hold conversations next week to bring the matter to a head. The 26-year-old is due back in training by then. The days ahead will be crucial to determine the outcome. 3 options remain open. Extend with Real Madrid, wait until next summer to depart as a free agent, or join Arsenal now. And then it's obviously spoken about, The Athletic have spoken about it, they've spoken to several sources. When Real Madrid and Vinicius began discussing a contract renewal, few people would have thought that it had become a saga. Having joined the club in 2018 from Flamengo for 45 million euros, Vini Jr. renewed in 2020 until 2027. That extension was carried out smoothly, but also gave some indication of what the future might hold. The club presented him with different financial offers depending on the length of the contract, with less money if he signed until 2027. That fly is going to die by the time this vid's done, instead of 2028, as some of his teammates. At the time, Vini and his inner circle were confident that this outstanding season, in which he obviously scored in the Champions League against Liverpool, was just the beginning of establishing him as an elite player. Based on that, they favoured a shorter renewal in order to renegotiate improved terms sooner. Naturally, he's got a good brand. You obviously want to go and do that. This is why I hate the summer, because this has to be open. Listen, fly, please. It's not going to be nice. With his salary that rises over time and the fulfillment of various bonuses, particularly winning FIFA's The Best Award in 2024, Vini is currently earning 18 million euros net per season. So based on what we see, he's earning 18 million euros. He wants 20. I'm sure they will come to an agreement, people. In 2025, last year, General manager Jose Angel Sanchez and chief scout Calafat met with Vini, two of his agents and his father, who holds a percentage of his rights at Real Madrid's training complex to discuss the matter. They proposed an offer around 20 million euros net per season. That was rejected by the players' side. They put forward a counter offer in the following weeks, which was rejected. In April 2025, Madrid suggested that the renewal was very advanced, with a number of reports in Spanish press emerging to that effect. However, Vini's entourage categorically denied it. Apparently, the Athletic revealed he was asking for a package close but not quite 30 million euros, comprising of a base salary, performance-related bonuses, and something unprecedented in Madrid's history, a renewal bonus. Sources say the renewal bonus has been the main point of contention between the parties since then. Faced with Madrid's argument that they cannot exceed the wage cap any further, sources close to Vini's camp say they see a renewal bonus as the only way to increase his earnings. Underlining this is the comparison with his teammate Mbappe, whose salary is very similar. However, Mbappe earns much more from the signing bonus he received after joining as a free agent in 2024. Real Madrid have always been opposed to accepting Vini's request, thinking that it would create a dangerous knock-on effect within the squad in future renewals. Vini is open to lowering his demands if it helps reach an agreement with Madrid. So when you get away with the excitement, there seems like a willingness, ideally, it's suggesting indirectly, Vini wants to stay at Real Madrid, and it is the pinnacle of club football. Arsenal have capitalized on the current tug of war over his contract to put themselves in a strong position for a potential deal. Quote unquote, we have, because if we really have spoken to him, we're assessing what happens, and ideally it works out for us that Madrid say no, we can. I wouldn't say we've capitalized, because capitalizing for me is actually getting his signature on paper and he's an Arsenal player. Aware of the gap between both sides after a lack of progress between Madrid and Vinicius, and of how this has been affecting the player, sources with knowledge of the situation say Arsenal have been making moves behind the scenes for months. Madrid's anticipated signing of Diamande from Leipzig is seen as good news by sources close to Arsenal, as they believe Vini might view it as a move to ensure they are covered in the event of his departure. However, there is yet to be a resolution to that transfer, which could impact the progress of a move for Vini. Allegedly, Andrea Berta has held talks with Vini's camp. Key figures at Arsenal have also conveyed to his reps that he'd be the start of a solid project, a team led by Arteta that won the Premier League and obviously lost the Champions League on penalties. The London club want to strengthen the squad with the addition of a centre mid. It's mentioned Bruno Guimaraes, a centre back to cover William Saliba, a left winger. In addition to Zolis, who's obviously come here. Madrid proposed a 20 million euro annual salary to Vinicius, and Arsenal would need to and are willing to make an exception to their usual salary structure for a player like Vinicius Jr. A sign-on bonus and image rights could also help from a financial standpoint. When it comes to a transfer, Madrid are at risk of losing Vini for free next summer when his contract expires, which some at the Spanish club do fear. He'd also be due a significant loyalty bonus next season. Arsenal hope to take advantage of Vini Jr.'s contract situation to negotiate a lower fee. Arsenal's ownership have approved the anticipated figures of a deal. While the numbers are daunting, Arsenal hope their expenditure would be offset by a significant commercial windfall. Vini Jr. is a marketing powerhouse. It's felt his arrival would elevate Arsenal's brand to new heights. Arsenal think he could be the face of the club and possibly the Premier League. His arrival could arguably be the biggest transfer ever into the division. But this is primarily a football pursuit. There's very few players that can improve us naturally. Arsenal being in the conversation shows that we've come a long way. But yeah, Arsenal are operating under the impression that Vini Jr. be open to joining us. People with knowledge of the situation say there are key figures at Madrid who favour selling Vini this summer to prevent him from leaving as a free agent. And as we know, the final decision was with Florentino Perez, people. Arsenal make breakthrough in the pursuit of Vini, as Miguel Delaney has said. There's still a considerable way to go. Present realities may yet see Vinicius end up at Arsenal. However, as he only has 1 year left on his contract, the situation is said to now be entering the decisive period. It's possible his future is decided this week. One of the primary issues is the extent of image rights, which Arsenal are willing to be much more flexible on, as well as the type of contract that reflects Vinicius' status at the club. The position of his camp is that they want a deal comparable to Mbappe's, but Madrid are some way off that. The Bernabeu hierarchy also need to balance transfer business this summer. Obviously, they brought in Cucurella, Dumfries, Bernardo Silva, and Canate, and are expected to bring in Yan Diamande, who shares an agency with Vinicius in Rock Nation. The Spanish club do not want to let Vini go on a free next summer. Arsenal, meanwhile, intent on raising the level of their attack with the budget made available for such a move, and few would be bigger than Vinicius. Again, that's great. Apparently, the club are continuing to work on other targets too, with Atletico Madrid's Julian Alvarez, a player they are still keen on. Could you imagine getting both people? That'd be amazing. And Bruno Guimaraes and Vinicius, the Brazilian duo. Apparently, Arsenal have reserved the date next week for the possibility of Bruno's medical at London Coley. An agreement has been reached in principle of 77 million plus add-ons. Contract not signed yet. Final details to sort, but a deal is close now. Next 48 hours are said to be crucial. Matteo Moretto has said Bruno Guimarães basically being done for 80 million euros. And this was the article coming out of ESPN Brazil. Arsenal completed the signing of Bruno Guimarães on Friday night for a total value that could reach up to 80 million pounds. The Gunners agreed to pay 70 million pounds upfront, plus the addition of 10 million pound in performance-related bonuses to secure the arrival of the Brazilian midfielder. There's been rumours he's set to sign a 5-year deal as well. Apparently, Bruno Guimarães' long-term contract signing with the London club is on track to take place this weekend in London. The Brazilians' desire to strengthen the current Premier League champions weighed in favour of negotiations, as did the Magpies promise to facilitate a transfer given their failure to qualify for the 2026-27 Champions League. So it seems like Guimarães is there. The hope of Vinicius is there, but the reality is there's nothing. So I hope simultaneously try all you can for Vinicius, because best case scenario, we get this guy. Worst case scenario, we lick our wounds. It was fun while it lasted to dream about that. But whoever the next left wing target is there, because we need a centre mid. We need a left winger. We need defensive cover. We need Arteta to elevate it tactically. We need our players to go to another level. We're trying to retain the Premier League and also win multiple competitions. I believe we can win the FA Cup and the Premier League as a minimum next season. So I'd love to know your thoughts.